So first, I was really quite interested in majoring in Japanese studies since I was in junior college because I was really interested in Japanese culture and the language. And when I visited their open house, I was also really surprised by how they not only offer very interesting modules, but also a lot of opportunities for us to travel to Japan and actually immerse in the culture and interact with the people. I think most definitely studying about Japan, of course. So for Japanese studies, we not only learn about Japanese culture, but also about history, economics, business, politics, and so much more. And I think it's really interesting because we also have to take Japanese studies as part of our major requirements, and we actually have to apply this language into all of our modules, which I thought was really a unique and challenging part of studying Japanese studies for me. Yeah. Actually, unlike most freshmen, I actually missed the deadlines for all the other orientation camps. But fortunately, I have a senior who actually invited me into the Japanese Studies Society freshman orientation camp. And through that camp, I actually get to know a lot of seniors who were really helpful and provided very useful tips for me and even advice on how to cope with this new phase of life and all the administrative stuff like planning and all. And also, as a Japanese studies major, our cohort is actually really small, so we actually get to know almost every other students, and we actually have been a very tight-knit and close group of friends until now. Yeah. So actually, after graduating, I'm thinking of furthering my studies because I'm really interested in researching more about Japan, specifically international relations. And also, after furthering my studies, I also aim to find a career that allows me to be a bridge between Singapore and Japan. So I think furthering my studies will actually greatly value add me in that aspect. Yeah. So precisely because I want to find a career that allows me to interact with Japan and be a bridge between Singapore and Japan itself, I think being a Japanese major will definitely help me in that because we not only get to learn a lot about Japan, but also learn the language itself, which I think has been a really, really helpful skill set in terms of finding a career and getting ahead in terms of actually really finding a career that allows me to dabble in Japan. One thing about Japanese studies is that it's also quite interdisciplinary because we actually get to study many different aspects of Japan, and that requires us to think about issues and also come up with ideas that uses various frameworks from different academic fields. So I think this kind of critical thinking and even flexible thinking itself, it's actually quite transferable across different kinds of careers, including mine. Yeah. So I think that would be really very helpful. Yeah. Beyond academics, I was actually able to participate in a lot of club activities. So for instance, I was actually in Japanese Studies Society, and this actually allows me to really get to know a lot of like-minded people who are really passionate about Japan, and even get to organize large-scale events in university, such as the Japanese Culture Festival. And also, outside club activities, I was also able to share a very close bond among my professors as well as my batchmates, and they actually invited me to a lot of different projects that were initiated by them. So for instance, I was actually invited by a professor to write my own episode for his podcast called Home on the Dot. So these are really very interesting experiences that I believe I wouldn't be able to take away just from studying and academics. Yeah.